Hi, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unlock the Future of Work with MFAL's Knowledge Work Automation and Gen AI webinar. My name is Jenna, and I'm pleased to be here as your host for today's session. Before we begin, I'd like to make a few announcements. First, please note that this is a webcast webinar, which means that you will be in listen-only mode. We encourage you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the webinar. Secondly, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, and we encourage you to participate by typing your questions in the question section. If you're unable to answer your questions during the session, we will follow up with you via email. Now, last but not least, please note that this session is being recorded and a copy of the recording will be shared with you once it is available. Joining us today is Takif, EDMS's Senior Application Consultant, and Leo, MFALS's APAC Partner Manager, who will be the speakers of today's webinar. Now, before we start, I would like to go through briefly on the agenda, whereby we will share a brief overview of EDMS. From there, I will pass it over to Leo to kickstart the MFALS Knowledge Work Automation. Then we will move on to the demo and the Q&A. Now, just a quick overview of EDMS consultants. So EDMS consultants, we have been in the industry now for more than 20 years, since 1999. So we are an experienced company in providing digital transformation solutions and services in business, content, and also document process management. So our mission here is to assist our clients in automating and also streamlining their business processes to ensure that at the end of the day, they achieve their goal, which is improve business profitability, agility, and productivity. We have been a partners of MFALS for more than 10 years now, and we are actually one of the top 50 partners around the world and the first Malaysian partner of MFALS to be certified as an MFALS delivery partner. All right, so now I'll be passing it over to Leo. Leo, over to you.
Thank you, Jenna. Allow me to share my screen. Excellent. So let's start by clarifying who is a knowledge worker. Well, knowledge work is defined as any task performed by exercising knowledge and creativity. A knowledge worker is someone who performs those tasks, and their primary capital is the store of their information they use and their critical thinking skills. So essentially, knowledge workers are the brains of an organization. They consume and use that information. They process it and then they create new insights from it. So anyone whose job it is to think for a living is a knowledge worker. So we know for a fact that around 50% of all knowledge workers across all industries are essentially knowledge workers these days. And their value to a company is critical. Their productivity, their satisfaction, their ability to perform their work has a massive impact on any company's growth and profitability. So what are we talking about? So when you look at any industry today, when you look at any businesses that rely intensively on knowledge workers, it's all about productivity. So as a business, it's all about your ability to improve productivity and how can I drive more value to my customers with the resources that I have. And in these difficult times, it's even more important that you're able to drive that value to your clients. But as you can see there, but these processes are frustratingly manual even today. So companies today, they've undertaken a lot of effort to improve their overall operational efficiency. You have ERP systems like SAP, you have human capital management systems like Workday, and you have CRM systems like Salesforce. But guess what? The knowledge workers are still stuck. Most of the work they do, everything from creating your client engagement letter to a sales order, a purchase requisition, onboarding new employees, the amount of time and effort just going to that preparation activity, finding that material, preparing it for the new customer, all the things that you got to make sure you got to get right before you can send it to that customer. It is intensely manual and can be a very frustrating activity. Now, most people have just grown accustomed to the fact that they have to deal with this. And as you start thinking about that in the context of any firm, any organization, part of your goal is you've got to have your employees happy and you've got to have them enjoying their work. If you're unable to address this issue, you're potentially losing revenue, you're creating challenges in terms of your effectiveness, you're creating employee satisfaction issues because you just haven't taken the time or had the ability to solve this. So there have been attempts to fix this previously. Now many companies use shared drives. They work for the individual and maybe for a team when you can control things simply and easily. For companies that have grown or for organizations that have grown, you might evolve to a SharePoint. I mean, pretty much everyone's using SharePoint. It's great for team collaboration. It's great for short-term projects. But when you start to think about it at scale, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to have a view on all the information across your organization at an enterprise level. So many companies have then gone to a traditional document management system. They provide certain capabilities in terms of security access and global view perspective. But they lack flexibility and they're dependent on file structures and people doing the right thing within the context of the system information that's provided. You have to follow it. And if you can't follow it, you're in trouble. And so again, this creates the challenge of finding information and managing information. What do I do with this information? And these are all problems that people experience on a day-to-day basis across many companies. So how do we solve that? Well, the first thing we have to do is to have an impact is we've got to automate as much as we can. The more we can automate, the more people have to actually make an impact. And the kinds of things that should be automated in this context include everything from the document, how it's classified, where it's stored, how it's managed, the attributes of that document that determine those things, how the document is used throughout a full end-to-end process. So from the time you create a proposal, for example, to who you reviews it, all the information that needs to be in it, to getting it approved, to send, to getting the customer to look at it, to getting it signed, having it stored to manage going forward, and then using it the next time you need to do another proposal. You have to repeat all that again, right? So all those activities from classification to workflow to managing your security and compliance around that information is critical. And guess what? That has to be automated. And that is what mFiles automates for you. So mFiles in itself is a unique platform that combines these elements together. We can manage documents even if they are stored in other systems. We can read structured business data from other systems and connect documents to those. We can drive business processes related to the business objects or documents. And all of that can be exposed to our AI tool to draw insights. So any business process that typically includes multiple products, mFiles automates to workflows, guiding users, connecting documents. Just like this simple process, a sales process, right from lead through to opportunity, through to getting the project delivery started. So here's a practical example of what knowledge work automation is all about, right? Before KWA, a knowledge worker performs too many manual tasks. Now, these tasks can take time, they can cause errors, they can frustrate people, don't add any value, right? So in this example here, there are 16 manual steps in the process. So you've got an advisor creating an investment plan proposal for a new client. As an example, they start with opening a Word document. They have to search and retrieve multiple assets from which they glean information. They have to look at client suitability, for example, search similar proposals. When they're done, they start to decide where to save that. OneDrive, SharePoint, etc. You navigate to the folder, you have to name the document, you have to check access rights, etc. The list goes on, right through to workflow approval and then passing it on to the client. That is 16 steps before they are ready to share that with the client. Now, after knowledge work automation, the system takes care of all the things that you don't require human attention. So mfiles automatically fills in the client details. Mfiles sets the permissions. Mfiles drives the workflow for you, all based on the metadata. And you can then cut that down to less than 7 steps, with the proposal finally being shared by the end with the end customer automatically. So once data governance process workflow automations are in place, you can start to look at Gen AI and creative value adding parts of knowledge work. So with that, you have all now seen a big picture of what mfiles can do. Now let's look at mfiles basics through a simple demonstration of all these benefits that I've talked about that we can deliver. So I'm going to request Takif, who will show us the filing of a basic meeting minutes document, how mfiles will, like in the example on my previous slide, store the document, capture the metadata related to the document, and then how we will surface that document from the perspective of the users and all the automatic permissions that mfiles will apply. So at this point, Takif, I would like to hand over to you.
Right, let me just share my screen. All right, so for this demo, I have actually prepared a document outside mfiles, which is actually a meeting minutes. And just to show you the content of this document, so I just double click this document very quickly and then just show you the meeting minutes, the meeting date, all right, and then the customer, the type of the meeting, the projects related to this meeting, and then just some random content over here. Right. And then also for this document name, I just give it some random name, for instance, like meeting one, because at this particular point of time, I didn't really sure on the standard naming convention that I should follow. And actually, that is not really important for me as the mfiles user. Right. So now, in order for me to upload this document into mfiles, I can just drag and drop this document into mfiles, as simple as that. And as usual, mfile will ask me to classify the documents, right? But thanks to mfiles, the moment I upload this into mfiles, mfiles already know what the document is all about. So if you can see over here on this class, uh, one way to do this is I can manually choose what is this document, but mfile already know this document, so that's why mfile just suggests me this is the meeting minutes. So I just need to click this one. I don't have to go through all the lists, right? And then mfile can also identify the meeting dates. I just need to click this one. Mfile can also know what is the meeting type for this meeting. So it's actually project meeting. So I just need to click project meeting. And then mfiles can also know, okay, this meeting minute is related to this project. Then I just need to click this website renewal for ESDT. I don't have to choose manually from the list. I don't have to manually type that. I just need to choose. And then the moment I choose project, this project website renewal for ESDT, the customer value is also auto-populated, right? Now I have filled in most of the mandatory documents. In fact, I have filled in all the mandatory document. Now, the only thing that I need to do is just to click create. As simple as that, just a few clicks, then you already create a document in mfile. So let me just go to recent tab just to see the document that we have created. And then as you can see over here, this is the documents that I have created just now. And the moment, right, the moment I create this document in mfiles, mfiles do me three things automatically, right? The first thing, mfiles will change the name, the file name, and it will follow the standard naming convention that we have configured, right? So I don't have to worry about what, the format of the file name. Everything will be automatically configured by the mfiles. That's the first one, right? And then the second one is the permission, right? uh, as you can see over here, we have automatic permission. And what actually happens is that the moment I choose this particular project, mfile will just give the access to the users that are involved in this project. So let me just show you very quickly. So if I click this permission over here, if I go to all users just to list all the users, if you can see, as you can see over here, not all user will have the access to the document, but just certain group of users. And the reason for that is that these users are involved in this project. So you don't have to manually specify the permission, include the users one by one, one by one. Everything will be automatically configured, automatically applied, automatically managed by mfiles. Right. So another thing that you don't have to worry is where do you want to find this document, right? So this is where you can use mfiles views. All right. So let's say, for example, let's say you are the sales manager. You wanted to see the document based on customer. Obviously, you are the sales manager. You need to know the customer. Customer is important. So you can just go to by customer, and then you can just choose ESTT Corporation. Then you can see this document over here that we have created just now, right? And just notice over here, the ID of this document is 2331. All right. So now, assuming that I'm assuming that this is not a user, right? For instance, maybe the project manager. So customer may not really important for this project manager, but I wanted to see the document based on projects. So what I can do, I can just go to by project view, right? Then I can just choose the related projects. In this case, website renewal for ESTT. Then there you go. You can actually see this document and it is the same ID. So in other words, you can find the same document via multiple views, and this eventually helps you to find the document effectively in mfiles. So at the end of the day, this is how mfiles simplify your task as the knowledge worker, especially when it comes to uploading documents and also retrieving document efficiently. Right. That is all for my first part demo, and I will be handling this over back to Leo. Leo, over to you.
Thank you, Takif. Just sharing my screen again. So that was a really good demo, Takif. Quick recap. What Takif has shown us is what I was talking about in terms of the big picture of mfiles and what mfiles offers. So the automatic naming of files, the automatic permissions, the automatic information classification, and the automation of workflows and permissions. Super simplified within mfiles, right? So now you've got the basic principles of knowledge work automation solution in place. But what about AI? How do you take it to the next level, right? Organizations are still grasping to learn how to use Gen AI, as you can see from this slide, right? Gartner predicts by 2020 to 27, Gen AI will augment 30% of all knowledge workers' tasks from 0% in 2023. So some of us may have already enabled a Gen AI solution for business use, but here at mFiles, we want to bring simple, effective tools to get the most out of Gen AI. So mFiles themselves, we have always been a visionary in leveraging AI. We have had AI built into our product since 2016. I've had Gen AI functionality called I know, which we will cover off in a quick demo later on, available in mFiles since December 2023, so over almost a year ago. And our focus with all our AI tools is to provide capabilities that directly enhance knowledge workers' activities for specific business purposes. I've seen there's a lot of AI tools out there that are interesting and fun, but don't necessarily provide real business benefit. At mFiles, we first introduced AI in 2017 with smart services, which you saw in Takif's demo. We brought machine learning, we brought AI tools to help users and companies organize their information. For example, we showed just now in our demo, we provide the ability to automatically classify a document based on its content, and then place the document into a workflow and automatically drive permissions and security. We can automatically extract interesting information, including references to customers and individuals, important dates, and add them to the document's metadata, as Takif just demonstrated. And now we've added Gen AI to the platform. However, organizations are still grasping to learn how to use Gen AI. So let's give you an example, right? Unlike mFiles, content is always in context. So this is an example of an organization. This is a real world example. Large organization, 50 billion plus in revenue. They had about 20,000 employees. Over 12 months, they built and invested in a large in-house, inbuilt Gen AI solution. And over the 12 months, they most of their trials failed. And their analysis of it was that although the solution returned technically correct responses, the answers were almost always out of context. So the answers were related to the wrong project, the wrong country, for example, the wrong vendor, wrong context, essentially. And this is quoting them verbatim. They said the more content we add, the worse it gets. So using GenAI to search for information seems pretty simple. In a perfect world, that would look like asking a simple question and getting the answer back, just like in this example. The challenge for most organizations is they don't manage data based on metadata like mFiles. Therefore, their content isn't able to be used by the AI assistant with the right context. So what happens if we don't have that context? Let's look at a typical scenario, trying to find the SLA penalty for a delayed response. So with context, getting the answer should be a simple exercise, right? But without contextual metadata, you get a lot of noise and confusion. So you get the response for the wrong company, you can get the response for a wrong customer, you get it for the wrong context. Should I even be able to see this? The wrong service, the list goes on. But that's not all. So we also need to make sure we engineer the perfect prompt. So if you don't frame the question in an easy to way understand, the GenAI application can also get confused, just as if you were asking a question to another person, like one of your colleagues. So in order to mitigate this, we then try to refining our results, typically like this. What is the SLA penalty for a delayed response? For ESTD, for this year. The one that's the final copy, not the draft from Joe. So the same core functionality of mFiles that helps people in your organization right now, which we demonstrated, with managing their information, helps GenAI. So before we get into the demo, just want to summarize. The challenges are and can be difficult to overcome. Everyone's trying to implement it, but only few are successful. So the good news for some of you is that your organization is already future ready. The elements of a successful GenAI implementation for your organization is already available with mFiles. And the challenges can be solved with what we refer to as the three C's. The mFiles automation approach that provides an excellent foundation for leveraging AI. One is connectivity. So AI needs access to the right information resources to provide real value. Confidentiality, which automates permissions for users, ensuring everyone has access only to the relevant information. And AI uses the same permissions the user has. And finally, there's curation. Right? All documents in mFiles are classified and connected to business context. There's only one version, and outdated information is archived. So mFiles helps AI use only accurate and relevant information. So metadata driven context. It creates a unique customer specific knowledge graph that surrounds all content, ensuring safe and high quality results. So in summary, the same automations that help people with mFiles, they also help Gen AI. Right, with that, now that we've seen the big picture of what mFiles can do, let's have a look at how GenAI complements mFiles and drives critical insights for your knowledge workers. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague Takif again.
All right. So now let us see mFiles INO in action, which I think everyone is waiting for. Right. So for this demo, I'm planning to show you how I am going to interact with I know in a different context, right? So for the first one, we'll try to interact with I know in a single document context based on a single document. So what I need to do now, I will try to search for a particular document just by typing the specific keywords, right? And then mFiles will obviously return me with some results of the document. So let me just choose this office lease agreement over here, right? And then the moment I click this agreement document over here, as you can see over here, I know we'll set the context so that we can only look for answers in this particular document, not beyond this document, right? So um, this is the lease agreement. Obviously, lease agreement. Sometimes lease agreement is a very long. I mean, agreement. When it comes to agreement, it is a very long document. So maybe I'll just I know to summarize this document. I can do that just by clicking this button over here, and then I know will just give me a very short and sweet summary of this document, which I mean, I don't have to go through the documents, and then I know can just give me a very quick summary, short summary. This is very good, and I of course I can ask Aino to add more details or maybe just shorten this summary. I can do so. Uh, Maybe okay. Let us try asking another question since this is related to agreements. So I just because I don't want to go through all the documents. So I would just wanted Aino to tell me the effective date of this agreement. So what I'm gonna do, I'll just ask Aino when is the effective date of this agreement, right? So Aino will just go through this document. Uh, Aino will just process this document on behalf of me, and then Aino will just give me the specific information that I required, which is the effective date is November 2023, right? So let me just show you another example of a single document context, right? So I'm going to search for another document which is called Hubshare. So Hubshare is actually like a user guide. So you can just assume that, for instance, I mean, just assume that in my organization we are using a system called Hubshare, in which we also have this user guide so that all the employees can understand, can know how to use Hubshare, right? So now I am the Hubshare admin. I just wanted to know uh, what kind of users that I can configure in Hubshare. So I will ask this question, and as you can see over here, the context is now changed only to this particular documents. We are not taking information beyond this document, right? So now I'm going to ask, I know what are the different types of users that I can set in Hubshare. And then I can just click ask, right? And then I don't know, we'll go through this document, and then I know will just give me the information that I have requested, right? So I don't have to go through all the documents, right? This is how you can actually save a lot of your time. I know will do the stuff for you, right? Another way of you can also interact, I know, in a different language. Yeah, for instance, let's say that I couldn't really understand English. So what I can do, uh, I can just ask I know in Malay, right? Then maybe I can just add few more question, boleh terangkan dalam bahasa Melayu, right? Then I can just click ask, and then I know we'll just go through the document, and then it just revert back to me in Malay. Yeah, which is really really useful for me because I'm not really good in English, couldn't really understand English, but this information over here is very good for me. It's already enough for me, right? So that is how you can use I know in other language, right? Um, Basically, this is how you interact with I know in a single document context. Now, there is also a scenario in which you wouldn't know a specific document or a specific item, but you know it is related to some other things. For instance, I wanted to find some information related to this particular specific project, website redevelopment or website refresh project, but I couldn't find the exact project's document. But I know the project is related. to this particular customer ESTT. So what I'm gonna do, I just click this ESTT object over here, and as you can see over here now, the context is already changed to ESCT. So I'm not choosing a single document, but instead I'm choosing a broader context, which is the customer object, right? Just like I mentioned, I couldn't really identify where is the project documents, but I know this is related to the customer. So let me just ask a question related to this project. So for instance, I wanted to know the project ID for the website refresh project. Then I can just click ask. Then I know we'll find the related information, related projects, related documents, which is related to this particular customer ESTT. And then I know will there you go. I know will just revert back to me the project ID. Yeah. So I don't have to go to find that particular project document, but I can just ask. I know based on the customer object, which is really good. Which is really time. I mean, which can save your time, right? Let me just ask another questions. I'm not choosing any documents, project schedule documents. So I want I know to list me the important dates for this project. Obviously, I just want I know to give me all the important dates because because as the project manager, for instance, I wanted to ensure that I am on the timeline, right? Then I can just click us, and then I know can obviously continue the conversations. I know we'll go through all the related informations with this customer, and then there you go. I know just highlight to me, list me all the importance that for this particular project, which is very good, which is very powerful. I don't have to go through each document. I know will do all the stuff for me, right? So let us try asking I know another set of questions, right? How many days until the final review and approval, right? Then let's see whether I know can do this one. And in fact, I know can revert back to you. For instance, I mean, just like this one, the final review and approval for ECT project was scheduled to start on 15th of August, which is 96 days in the past from today. Uh, so basically, I know can do basic mathematical calculation in which I know can calculate the debt differences between the specific debt and 2 days debt. Right. So that is how you can interact with I know in this context. Not a single document context, but a broader context in which you just choose any related records, any related customer object. Last but not least, I'm going to show you another context in which we can interact with I know. And this is very useful. For instance, you have this scenario in which I know, I wanted to find a document related to a particular project. I want to find information related to a particular project, but I don't want to waste my time finding the views, finding the customer view, and etc. So I'm just going to ask I know directly without choosing anything. And if you can see over here, I know is looking for answers within this vault, not a specific single document, not a specific customer, but instead I know we'll find the information across this vault, the whole vault. So let us try to ask I know one questions, right? Have we delivered a project related to website redevelopment? And if so, tell me more about what was implemented in dot point or point form, right? So I asked Aino to find some information, and I asked Aino to give me the information and just give me in a specific format, which I desired, like a point form, right? So I'm just going to click ask, and then Aino will just uh, find a particular information across this vault, and then there you go. I know eventually managed to find website redevelopment project for ESDT, and these are the activities that we have implemented in this project, right? So imagine that you dealing with thousands of documents, and then you can just ask INO to find a particular document for you. How good is that, right? It really saves your time, right? So before this, you're spending maybe a couple of minutes or maybe 5 or 10 minutes finding a document in a specific folder. What more to say? If you have a very, very complicated folder structure, it will be time consuming. uh, and sometimes if you want to do Windows search, it is not working. But instead, if you just ask I know, you just ask I know a specific set of question, and I know will do the rest for you. And at the end of the day, this is how we wanted to help and improve the knowledge workers, because at the end of the day, knowledge workers should just focus on managing informations, uh, finding information very quickly, rather than doing all the technical thing, renaming the file, finding the folder. So this is how we wanted to take knowledge worker into the next level. I think that is all for my demo for I know. And I will be handling this over back to Leo. Leo, over to you.
Thank you, Takif. That was really, really good. I'm just going to share my screen once again. Right, thank you for that demo, Takif. So, as Takif has shown, M-Files can really take the knowledge work automation piece to the next level using the inbuilt Gen AI capability that leverages the three C's and the metadata driven context that M-Files offers. So, in summary, M-Files is an end-to-end knowledge work automation platform, right? So starting with the five key pillars over there, we have document automation, which allows you to create documents, create agreements, create templates, and trigger them through to workflow. We've demonstrated today the ability for information management, which ensures there's always only the one version of a document, which ensures automatic file naming conventions, which ensures you don't have duplicates, you don't have errors, etc. And we automate that information lifecycle management as well. So documents can be deleted upon a certain event, documents can be further archived, etc. The other pillar is workflow automation as well. So we can guide daily workflow cycles based on document types. We can automate any document centric workflow within M files, ensuring timely completion of tasks. We also offer client collaboration, so providing seamless collaboration across boundaries, across not only internal users but external users, your third-party suppliers, your business partners, etc., allowing you to exchange information confidentially, securely, without having to attach documents to emails and losing that trail, audit trail, and history associated with that collaboration. And then we have the ability to integrate and extend using M files as well. So, like we've said, you can connect M files to other document repositories. So, you can actually manage documents which might currently be in your SharePoint, documents sitting in network drives using M files. And then the data exchange capabilities, being an enterprise class and a leader in Gartner Quadrant, the ability to integrate with your lead applications using APIs, etc. So you can enrich documents with further metadata, surface documents in your lead applications. All of this is underpinned by our patented metadata driven architecture, as you can see on the top left there, which in essence then allows you to adhere to any regulatory compliance requirement that you might have. Data security, information security is key to everything we do in M-Files without compromising on the user experience. And now we've added AI as well, as Takif has just demonstrated. So M-Files is a end-to-end. I'd like to end by saying an end-to-end knowledge work automation platform, and I hope you have learned something today. And we look forward to working with each one of you and working out how we can assist you with your unique requirements. With that, I'll hand over to Jenna and see if we've had any questions come through, Jenna.
Yeah. Thank you, Leo, and thank you, Takif, for the great presentation and demo. So looking at the question sections, we do have some questions. And while we're going through these questions, if anyone else have any questions, please feel free to add in. All right, so the first question over here is, okay, is there a trial period for I know, if, before committing to a purchase? Maybe I will pass this to Leo.
Um, we can work through that on a case by case basis. We do have the web online M-Files trial available for 30 days. So I would urge you to go on our website and register for that trial. Yes, but we can also work through the I know trial piece on a case by case basis.
Right. Thanks, Leo. And then we have another question here. Can we ask Aino to list down all the document pending approval and who should approve this document? Maybe I'll pass this to Takif.
Yep. So technically, yes, you can ask I know. So for instance, if you just ask I know in the vote level context, you can just ask I know, list me all the documents, for instance, that is pending approval, or maybe that needs to be submitted end of this week, and also includes the responsible person for these particular documents. And then I know can just give you the list of those documents and with the responsible person, and then also I know can also give you the link so that whenever you click the link, it will direct you to that particular documents. So technically, yes, you can do that.
Takif, just to add to that, another way
Yep.
to do that would be using the view functionality in M-Files. So, for example, you had a few hundred contracts that you manage annually with your business partners. You might have contracts that are coming up for renewal. You might have contracts that are expired. You might have contracts that are in force. So you can actually use the metadata for the status of that contract and create a dynamic dashboard like view in M-Files, which can give you a real-time view of, okay, where is that document at which stage, and who is it pending with, right? So you can have that set up as a view as well. Something to talk about and which I'm sure Takif can show you further after the webinar today.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Thank you, Leo.
Right. Okay, another one is what type of documents can Aino process? Takif?
All right. Sure. So what kind of documents can Aino work with? So basically, Aino can be used with any type of text documents, which includes, but it's not limited to Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF. Aino can just work with these documents, and of course,
Mm.
there might be a probability that you also do scanning. So in case for scanning, you can also do convert the scanning documents into searchable PDF, and then Aino can just work with that documents. So basically, Aino can just work with any documents, any text documents.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Takif, so yep, Ino can work with pretty much any format. Ino utilizes M-Files as OCR engine to digitize the content of all the documents, and it is like Takif has demonstrated, it is multilingual. So we have clients who use documents which are in Japanese, as Takif said, documents could be in Malay, documents could be in French, English. Language is not really a barrier as long as it is not handwritten text. If we can OCR make all the text in documents across a variety of formats text searchable, and that gives Ino the ability to interrogate those documents.
So we have a last question over here, which is, do I need to purchase Aino separately? So I think I'll pass it over to Leo.
Yep. So M-Files has a three-tier licensing model. We start with the base model based on your requirements. Then the next level up is the Teams model, and then finally the last one we have is the business platform. I know is available within the business platform, which is the top tier platform that we have. So you do need to we need to understand with you how you intend to use INO as well. It is not an add-on module; it's an inbuilt module of M-Files. Um, and we need to understand with you how you're going to interrogate documents. Is it going to be at a document level? In that case, the licensing model is different. If you're looking at vault-wide INO, then you would need to include the INO semantic index capability in the licensing as well. So again, something we can get into and explore further with you.
Right, thank you, Leo. We'll just give it a few seconds in case anybody else have any questions. Okay, one question just came in. Um, how can we ensure Aino will not retrieve any information that is not supposed to be viewed by the user? Takif or Leo, would you like to answer that?
I
Can you?
can
Maybe just you. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I can take that. So as we've shown in the presentation today, mFiles is metadata based, and mFiles drives automatic information security and permissions. So INO will work off of those permissions. So if you were to ask, hey, what's my colleague's salary, for example, you do not have permissions to see that document or that information. That would be locked with specific users within the HR department. So INO will utilize the same permission model that is configured within mFiles. That way, you do not have unwanted leakage of information or users accessing information that they're not supposed to. And that it is that very metadata driven model and the principle of the three C's, the context, the confidentiality, and the curation, that ensures users only see what they should be able to see.
Right. Thank you,
Okay.
Leo. Let's see. Done. Right. Okay, so I think this is our last question over here. Does the cost of INO vary based on the number of users or documents analyzed? I think this is a question more to Leo. Would you be able to answer that one?
Yeah, so no, look, again, this is depends on how many documents you want to configure with INO, but generally speaking, the cost is it is included in the price of each user. So yes, the more its pricing is essentially user based, and INO is already included for each user to use, except for when it is read only users. So something we can again talk about in further detail.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Leo. I think that's all for the questions that we have for today. Right. So yeah. So if that's the case, thank you everyone. Who joined today's session, and we hope that you found the session informative and also you learned something on what knowledge work automation is all about. Now, if you have any specific use cases in your workplace and you would like to discuss further on it, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, and we will be happy to assist you. So with that, we'll be ending the webinar. Looking forward to working with all of you. Goodbye and enjoy your day. Bye, everyone.